Hey Virgo, what's going on? Welcome to your channel, Virgo Goddess Intuitions, or shall I say the bona fide Virgo Goddess Intuitions. So come on in, get comfortable. We got a lot to go over today. There's a lot happening, and I want to make sure that I get it all in for this video. So yeah, if you happen to find this channel, it is not by coincidence, because yes, this channel too, like my other channel, is shadow banned. So feel free to go over to the Divine Raven Moon 369. I will probably put the link in the description box for this particular video. I know I haven't really been putting too much in the descriptions for my videos, but I will leave the link for that channel. And so if you have found this channel, you probably have not found that channel, but welcome anyway. All right, Virgo, so let's just get into it. All right, before we get started, if you have on headphones or any of the sort, you can turn it down. We're going to ring the bell before we get into this message. Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, so I've already called in the respective guidances and protections for this read. And so I'm going to start off with the channeled message and what is happening currently with the planetary alignments, as well as with the sun being in Scorpio. I mean, the moon being in Scorpio, with the sun being in Capricorn. Okay, so let's get started. So what's coming across for you all at this time is that there is what I would say as being some sort of a sacred release for a lot of you Virgos at this time. Okay, so we're currently in this waning moon in Scorpio, and there is a lot of ruckus. All right, this is not a fluke. Okay, and it's very much by precise design that everything may be feeling on the opposite end of whatever gentle would be, right? Whatever soft would be. All right, so what it is that you're being guided into a sacred shedding at this time. So it's like new year, new shedding, right? Even though we already established on this channel that January 1st is not really the new year, but still what's going on at this time is that you are definitely shedding. So this is kind of like as we're leaving the year of the snake, going into the year of the horse, is what's coming to mind with this shedding that's happening. And it's not comfortable. This shedding and this releasing is not comfortable, and it's playing out in various parts and aspects of life right now. You don't have to be a Virgo to resonate with this message. However, this message is specifically geared for Virgo, or so you could have Virgo placements for 22 on the counter. Take the message how it resonates. This is a general message. I am an intuitive reader, and so that's that. Okay, I don't know your personal situations, but I can give you the energies around what's going on today, and take it how it resonates with your personal. 441 on the counter. Okay, so this is a soul deep cleansing. All right, it's not just about emotions, but about outdated identities, karmic loops, and silent agreements that you made from a survival standpoint rather than what is truth. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so a lot of what's happening right now for you all, and some of it may even be you feeling emotions that are not really your emotions per se, but generational resonances, or it's like a residue, or it's things that your body carries genetically, DNA wise, that you may be feeling, and all these things are coming up in order for you to shed those things as well. All right, and what's most helpful, if you're able to discern which emotions are completely yours and which are emotions that are being carried through ancestral traumas and so forth. All right, so yeah, with the karmic loops, all right, and the silent agreement. So there are many agreements that you made in the past, okay, that you were kind of forced to make these agreements, because it's kind of like, for an example, how your body may cope or handle with certain stresses. Your body may start going into overdrive 444, right? No, it was 646, or 644. But your body may be going into certain overdrive in order to go into that survival mode, to keep you safe. So for some of you, you may have silently made agreements because it was what was needed, or your body felt like it needed. Your brain, 7-Eleven on the counter, assessed something in a certain way, and a silent agreement was established so that you could survive a certain situation. Okay, so all of that is coming to the forefront in order to be released. Those silent agreements are being shattered, okay? Shattered all the way through and through. All right, so you are here to transform what you touch. So start with yourself, all right? All right, start your transformation with yourself. And that is coming from the spirit of peace and love, okay, which is bringing us into this love and self-love and love relationships, okay? So right now, there's no secret that there is a very high profile, well, I don't want to say high profile, but a very well famous influencer family that's going through some kind of a divorce or separation right now. And so I guess if there's an example that I can kind of like bring into this part of the message, I'll probably be referring to that couple. I'm not going to be saying their names. I think everybody knows who they are. And, this video is not about them, but because they are, like internet, social media celebrity, I'll be referring to them if an example is needed, okay? So love is being purified through these planetary alignments right now, in this moment, right? So we are in the Scorpio full moon, where Scorpio asks you to release these attachments that are rooted in fear, control, or old wounds, okay? So there's a lot of speculation as to, going back to the celebrity couple, why they may be splitting. I'm picking up on a lot of downloads on this situation, which I am not going to be sharing on this channel. I'll probably share it on the other channel. But what I can tell is that there was a lot of attachment related to control. I'm not really sure about old wounds in this particular situation with this couple. there's definitely some fears and there's definitely some control, okay? And I would say that there's a lot that we can kind of like sit back and learn from the situation based on whatever, information that we can gather, because we don't really know what's going on or what the situation is, and neither is it our business, right? But like I said, if I'm gonna, excuse me, I was a spiritual belch. If I'm gonna use like an example, I'll probably use them because they're already in the public eye. But getting back to this message, if a connection requires you to abandon yourself, then it's not aligned with your dharma. So, I think in their situation, they were probably together since they were like 14. People outgrow each other, situations change, things change. Not really sure what the situation is, but it seems like somebody was leaning toward the abandonment aspect, right? Which it is, sometimes separation is best when it's causing you to lose yourself in a connection. So what may be happening for a lot of people at this time, regardless of the situation, whatever your economic situation is, whatever cultures you are, it doesn't matter where you are on the planet. If a lot of people are pulling back out of relationships and opting to reestablish the relationships with themselves, because they realize that they've lost themselves within these connections. So that's a lot of what's happening right now. And if love asks you to be honest, present, and vulnerable, then it's a medicine, right? I'm going to say that again. If love is asking you to be honest, present, and vulnerable, then it is medicine. That's where you're going to receive the healing. But if you're in a connection with someone and it requires you to abandon yourself, then you know that you're already abandoning your source connection. You already know that it's not in alignment with your dharma. All right. So these are just confirmation reminder messages. All right. Choose love that mirrors your growth and not your past. Okay. And I don't know if that's going to be the title of this video, because I don't know if this is the entire message is about love, but it's definitely about continuing on your healing journey in a way that you are able to be flexible with yourself and gentle with yourself during this time of upheaval or ungentleness, with the shedding, with the releasing. Okay, so yeah, going back to healing. All right, a lot of it's emotional, some of it's energetic, and some of it's ancestral, right? So if you are on your healing journey, you've probably come to the point where you've been able to differentiate between the energies, your energy versus other people's energy, and just like maybe some past family energies that you don't even know these people, but you feel them, right? Well, deep healing is available when you stop bypassing the shadow and sit with it, is the message, all right? What you feel surfacing now, or what you may be feeling, or you may have felt this in the past couple of days, especially coming out of was it the new moon? No, it was the full moon, right? So receiving all of this, and then now, that's the ebb and flow of it. It's receiving, and then there's like this cycle of releasing. So Scorpio is here to remind you, okay, that your wounds are initiations, okay? Initiations into you moving into a deeper sense of self, with the healing, okay, that will enable you to move past the limitations that are set while you're stuck in these energies. Okay, so what you feel surfacing may be that grief, that anger, that longing, fatigue. All right, it's not regression. Okay, you're not going back. And that's part of what you're being reminded right now, is that because you're feeling these emotions, you're not going backwards, but you are entering into this like initiation period, where the true healing can begin, because now you're starting to confront and face your shadow aspect. Okay, so your wounds are initiations. When healed, they become wisdom. All right, which you are meant to share. All right, so an example that I can give is myself. I've gone through so much, um, and there's so much that I'm able to look back on and learn. And you better believe I'm still learning today. All right, I'm still releasing today. All right, but the thing is that like when I first started my first channel about 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, my energy was very much like I know that I have a lot of value to give. I don't want to meet people in this sort of space where we are trauma bonding. Yeah, so like where we're trauma bonding, but where I'm able to share the wisdom through some of the things that I've experienced and endured, and overcome. And so the wisdom is meant to be shared. Maybe there were just, I just probably didn't know where to start, right? And I guess I was hoping for more participation on the part of the listeners, instead of me just like divulging and divulging and divulging, because it could be a little bit like vomiting on I didn't want to come out like that, but so I guess what I'm saying is, yes, that there is wisdom that is meant to be shared. Don't be afraid to share your wisdom, from the things that you've healed from. All right. And if there are things or topics, even on this channel, that you guys want me to dive into, I'd be more than happy to dive into these things and share my personal experiences. Okay, but I want you guys to communicate, participate, and let me know what topics you want me to read on or talk about. Okay, so yeah, this is exactly how you do that ancestral clearing. Okay, there are so many other ways, and I don't want to make it seem like what I'm saying is is law, and there is no other way of clearing ancestral traumas and so forth. Yeah, sharing can be one aspect of how you clear ancestral traumas, but I'm sure there's many others which I'm not going to be able to get into, because there's so much more that I want to cover, and we haven't even gotten into the cards yet, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, use your discernment. Know that you are being guided, not forcefully, but you are being guided, if you are open to the guidance through this process. Okay, so yeah, you're breaking old cycles by simply choosing the awareness of it. And sometimes it sounds that simple. Coming into awareness in itself can be very much taxing, but it's all to bring this up so that you can release it. Okay, it is a release. All right, so it's not a regression, but it is a release. All right, so now we're moving into how this may be playing out with your career and purpose. All right, or just your livelihood. All right, so whatever you're doing, I mean, I'm not going to tell people I can't tell you what to do. And I'm not going to even like, but for whatever you do, your work must be soul aligned, right? So if you are looking for your soul's purpose, start with what you do. All right, now there's no, like, you sometimes you there's no big secret that a lot of times, we all have bills to pay. We all have to take on certain responsibilities in order to have a livelihood, right? So don't confuse the soul alignment and what you and your work. Don't confuse those two. Your soul alignment, all right, and what you do for work, they can come together. But it doesn't automatically just happen like that for most people. And that's my point, all right? It's not to tell somebody what to do and what not to do. It's just to have you understand that your work, now, if you're feeling like, if you're in this part of your life where you're just like, I've been at this job for 20 years and I don't like what I'm doing, and I know I could be doing more. I want to be more creative. I want to do this. I want to do that. Whatever it is. Okay, that's the point. 2133 could be very significant, but to be in your soul alignment in what you do is not being ego driven. Okay, so I'm going to take what I do on YouTube for an example. This is a work for me, right? It's a joyful work, and as much as I say it's a joyful work, I've got so many people that are trying to oppose and make it the worst experience ever, right? 2202 for that. But I know that my soul is aligned with doing this, and whenever I'm feeling a certain way, I have to always go back and check my ego, right? So it's kind of like, at this point, it's all about soul alignment and what spirit has shown me. And I did see 2233. Spirit has a way of always showing me to not look at numbers, but to look for the results in other ways. Okay, so I'm not saying that I'm not human, because I am, and I get kind of tempted to want to have these big numbers and to do this and do that. And 2255, I just know that I'm so capable. But I think a part of this is spirit just kind of like reminding me what this is really all about, right? And it's not about being ego driven, but it's about my soul being aligned with my work, right? So if my example helped you understand like what that part meant about your work must be soul aligned, not ego driven, but there you have it. Okay. Absolutely no ego here. As a matter of fact, sometimes it feels like they want it to be a humiliation ritual, but whatever, right? That takes ego as well. So I guess you can't humiliate someone that's already humble, right? But I do have authority in which I respect and not abuse. So let's keep moving, all right? So if your motivation has waned for something, your spirit, it's because spirit is asking for meaning, not hustle. Okay, did you hear that? If you feel like your spirit or something, your motivation is waning, then your spirit is asking you for more meaning, not for you to hustle harder. Okay, hustle hard, hustle. There's a song like that, right? I'm not even gonna pretend like I know the song, but I've heard it. Hustle hard. All right, whatever. Sometimes I'll be trying to be cool, right? I am cool. I'm cool as a fan. But yeah, it is what it is. So if something feels heavy, ask, is it still part of my dharma, or am I holding on out of fear? Okay. Now I don't know what spirit has to hold for me in terms of how long I'm gonna be kicking out content and doing this and doing that, but it's that heavy feeling, right? That wants to question whether something you're doing needs to be refined with more meaning, a meaning that what it means is that you're going to have to go deeper into this evolutionary process of whatever the work is that you're doing. Okay, is it still a part of your purpose, or are you continuing to do something because there is some sort of a fear backing you not doing it anymore? Okay, I think Spirit wants you to question all these things, okay? Because the heaviness could be coming from you just needing to, you're outgrowing, right? Yeah, it's not that you're fat, right? You're growing, okay? So, and okay, don't be offended because I said it's not that you're fat. Because in my mind's eye, I was really seeing not an adult, but I was seeing a child and how a child outgrows clothes quite rapidly. So if a 2-year-old is trying, no, if a 5-year-old is trying to put on something that they had since they were like 3.5, 4, it's probably not gonna fit. And they go like, "Mommy, I'm fat." Whoop. And it's like, no, you're not fat. It's not fitting. It's time for you to get the next size up. And I feel like that's kind of like how it's trying to be explained for the collective over here. For you Virgos. So this heaviness feeling, it's not that, it's just that gauge, that prompt to really have you ask yourself some pertinent, very important questions for your inner self as to, is this still a part of my alignment? Am I required to go deeper? Or am I just holding on because I'm just afraid of something? Okay? Your gifts are meant to serve, uplift, and transform. So when your work is aligned with truth, abundance does follow naturally. All right? And I think for me personally, the whole trick has been, well, the numbers, right? Well, the numbers are not showing the work or whatever. And Spirit is like, but that's not the point. All right, 2812. All right, 2813. That's not the point. All right, the numbers are not the point for the work that I'm doing, although they would be nice, but that may be the thing in itself. Okay, so, but there's so much truth and so much abundance that does naturally flow into my life that I'm so grateful for, and that fuels me to be able to continue to do this, right? 2844. So, collective, what does this mean for you, Virgo? All right, it means that you are not meant to walk this path alone. Whatever it is that you're going through, that you're experiencing, that you are evolving from, or that you're being redirected to kind of look at certain things, all right, or to release certain things, or to refine certain things. The key word that has been really coming up in 2026 has been refinement. And I'm noticing it's not to redirect, but it's or to, I can't think of the word right now. There's another word that I always use, but it really speaks to just like overall, like changing something And Spirit is like, there's nothing you need to overall change. You just may need to revisit certain areas and redefine what these areas mean to you, right? Okay, so 144 on the clock. I feel like I don't want to ramble so much. So the current moon phase, waning in Scorpio, is inviting you to release isolation, right? Whether it was imposed, whether it was self-imposed isolation, or you feel like somebody put you in a situation to kind of isolate you, all right, you're being invited to release that isolation, all right, to seek conscious collaboration, all right, to seek conscious collaboration, right, to seek conscious collaboration and to show up authentically in community. All right, so that may be a tough one, especially if you just recently dealt with a situation where someone in the community tried to isolate you, right? And Spirit is saying, you know what? Release that energy. No longer be isolated, and redefine how you go about moving throughout the community, because there are still so many people that need your encouragement, that need to hear your message, okay? And they need to see you show up in your authentic way, because it's healing. It really is healing. And I really don't know the people that listen to this channel. I'm not sure how I've ever affected anyone in a positive or challenging way on this platform, but it doesn't mean that I don't know that there has not been an impact, right, in some way. So keep that in mind. Yeah, your present matters, and your voice carries medicine. All right, even your quiet witnessing has purpose. Okay, 3232 on 3233. Okay, so yeah, continue to share, as I'm going to continue to share, regardless of what the illusion tries to make this look like. Okay, Virgo, that's pretty much your message. Okay, just remember that your soul already knows the way. All right, it's just making sure that you are staying in alignment with your soul, okay, because your soul does know the way. All right, and so I guess the questions that you can ask yourself, if this message has resonated with you, and maybe I'll come back in a separate video and pull cards on this energy. This will just be the intuitive message, which is already 33 minutes in. All right, but I guess the questions that you can ask is, what am I ready to release so I may live in my truth fully? All right, where am I being asked to act with integrity? And even if it's uncomfortable, so where are you being asked to act with integrity, even if it's uncomfortable? And how can my healing become service? Well, your healing can become service because of the example. All right, and there's so many nuances within that, right? How can my healing become service? Well, for some it may not become service at first, but give it time. All right, and giving it time doesn't mean that you have to stay around unhealed people so that you are affected by their unwellness, okay? But it does mean just keep the light on. Keep the light on. All right, keep the light on, for yourself and for others, okay? So, yeah, I guess this is going to be the end of this channeled message. I do have an affirmation for you all. If you want, I'll probably put it in the description box, and I'll probably post it in the community tab. All right. But your affirmation is, I honor my shadows as sacred teachers. I release what no longer serves my soul and step fully into my Dharma with courage, clarity, and compassion. All right, Virgo. So that is your intuitive message for now. I'll be back a little later with the reading on this message. And until then, ciao.